Is it on? Is it on?
I think that we are good enough.
So the link's on the website.
Mm-hmm.
We should be live now.
Acknowledge that Sean is up.
Yes.
One view, is it one of you?
10 seconds.
Oh, sorry, it's one view, not viewer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it is pretty delayed.
It is 6:31 p.m. and I will call the meeting to order. Sean McInerney is here. He will be off camera today, so you may hear a voice off in the distance, but that's Sean. All right. Starting off, we have approval of the minutes for the last meeting, dated October 8th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? That is right. So we're just doing the motions. All right. We'll vote by roll call in alphabetical order by last name. Please respond with a yes, no, or abstain. Dodds?
Yes.
Husk? Yes. McInerney?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next up, we have reports, and since we did not have a November meeting, we will have the combined reports for October and November, starting with the financial report.
Okay, would you like for me to read October and November separately?
Please.
Okay. For October 2025, our rainy day fund had expenses of $46,394.74, leaving our year-to-date expenses of $46,394.74, a remaining approved budget of $42,105.26, and cash balance of $42,964.72. In our township fund, we had our expense of $193,757.71, leaving our year-to-date expenses of $231,524.04, and a remaining approved budget of $13,475.96, and a cash balance of $111,791.02. In our township assistance fund, we had no expenses during October, leaving our year-to-date expenses of $9,526.95, a remaining approved budget of $15,473.05, and a cash balance of $111,487.66. In our recreation fund, we had expenses of $799.98, leaving our year-to-date expenses of $4,052.19, a remaining approved budget of $947.81, and a cash balance of $11,287.02. Our COVID donation fund held steady at $450.22. Our township donation fund was at $114.84. And our volunteer fire department donation fund was at $3,378.70. We had no irregular deposits. We had our usual local income tax of $1,491.25. And our Trust Indiana account earned $1,367.09 in October. For November, we had zero expenses in our rainy day fund, leaving our year-to-date expenses of $46,394.74, a remaining approved budget of $42,105.26, and a cash balance of $43,062.52. In our township fund, we spent $3,937.29, leaving our year-to-date expenses of $235,461.33, and a remaining approved budget of $9,538.67, and a cash balance of $109,695.03. In our township assistance fund, we had no expenses, leaving our year-to-date expenses of $9,526.95, a remaining approved budget of $15,473.05, cash balance of $111,745.59. In our recreation fund, we spent $247.01 The 10 did not carry over. Year-to-date expenses of $4,299.29, leaving a remaining approved budget of $700.71, and a cash balance of $11,058.25. Our COVID donation fund held steady at $450.22. Our township donation fund has $0, and our volunteer fire department donation fund is at $3,378.70. We had no irregularly scheduled deposits. Our usual local income tax deposit of $1,491.25, and our Trust Indiana account earned $724.10.
Does the board have any questions on the financial report?
No.
Correction, we do need a motion. It's the voting that is done. So do I have a motion to approve the financial report?
A motion to approve the financial report.
Second.
All right, I'll do a vote by roll call. Dodds?
Yes.
Husk? Aye. McInerney?
Aye.
All right, next up, the trustees report.
Yeah, I'd first like to start off and just recognize the lifetime of service of former board member and trustee and assessor Lynn Stevens, who passed away this past month on November 16th. As far as other business, I attended the 2025 Indiana Township Association Annual Educational Conference. I attended sessions on ethics and public service and earned a certificate. Using AI in local government, budgeting amid legislative change in capital improvement planning, and internal controls for small and medium townships. As far as our shelter insurance donation fund, otherwise known as our COVID fund, earlier in November during the government shutdown and the food stamp delay, I tried reaching out to Jenny Burton of Shelter Insurance to see about getting our donor letter updated so we could use funds at that time for food distribution. However, her office phone number went to a new agent, Jason Edwards. After discussing the situation with him, he was quickly able to generate an updated donor letter, removing restrictions such as directly related to COVID, the per family limit, which was placed there before inflation, and removing the requirements for families to be a Benton Township resident. I had hoped to free up these funds to work with a community activist for food distribution, but due to several factors, we were not able to schedule that as we had hoped. And at that point, the government shutdown had ended and the food stamps had been restored. A local Girl Scout troop has reached out asking to be more involved with the Little Pantry and the Little Library. I've emailed and texted Ralph Unversall, who originally oversaw these projects for the 4-H hotshots. However, we have not heard from him if he or anyone else is still involved. If we do not hear from him, the plan is for the Girl Scouts to design some signs to let people know that they are there and possibly adopting these 2 units. So these are out in our parking lot. These were funded and created by the Unionville 4-H, and they're kind of a self-serve library and food pantry for people in this area. As far as the Taylor Fry McGowan Cemetery, I've had some volunteers who have been working on documenting stones and placement there. So we hope to be wrapping that up next week. On December 9th, I, along with other Monroe County trustees, presented at the Monroe County Council meeting to start conversations about our role in the county and how our funding has been impacted by Senate Enrolled Act 1, as well as House Bill 1461, and to set the stage for future consideration with the local income tax that will be distributed amongst various county units. So that is up to the Monroe County Council to start making those decisions as the legislation terminated having a local income tax committee doing that. Our 2026 budget notice, or 1782, has been issued and our budget has been approved as expected. Danny Smith Park has reached out to update us that they have completed some work at the park and asking about how we go about making payments. As of November 14th, they said the HVAC project is complete, field 2 tree work is completed, and the lighting and electrical work is underway. Thank you again for the township's support in making these projects a reality. As of this moment, I have not received any invoices for payment or reimbursement for us to take action. I followed up again this week indicating a deadline of December 20th for payments made for this budget year. A few weeks ago, I forwarded an announcement from various sources that the town of Ellettsville and Richland Township are planning on forming a working group to investigate the possibility of government reorganization between these two units. One of the stated reasons was, quote, recent changes to state tax laws, Senate Bill 1, have placed increased pressure on rural townships and small towns to operate more efficiently with fewer resources. At the same time, there is growing discussion at the state level about eliminating township government altogether. The proposed reorganization allows Richland Township and Ellettsville to take the lead in shaping their shared future rather than reacting to outside decisions. So this is a topic that we have been discussing all year since bills have been in place in the spring. They were later voted down, many of them, but I feel like this topic is going to come up again and again, and will definitely be on our agendas next year. So if you'd like more information about what's going on in those meetings, I believe the town meetings are recorded by CATS TV through the public library. On December 4th, the Monroe County Commissioners held a public meeting in Steinsville to follow up with the inclusion of Bean Blossom Township into the Monroe County Fire Protection District. In addition, the potential addition of Salt Creek and Polk Townships were also mentioned in this meeting as a possibility of a decision was happening soon, air quotes. This meeting is also available on CATS TV. At this time, we need to plan our organizational meeting for January. So by Indiana law, we're to have an annual meeting of the Township Board to organize by electing one member as chair and one member as secretary for the year, which needs to happen on or before the first Tuesday after the first Monday in January. So, and then we also should probably set our January meeting as well.
Well, that's usually set after that.
Okay.
So the first Tuesday is December 6th.
The first January?
Sorry, January. The first Tuesday in January is the 6th.
Okay. Would you like to have a meeting on January 6th?
That's what we did last year too. That's the board deal.
That would be either the 5th or the 6th. I'm going to be gone up until then. So,
So you'll be back for the 5th or the 6th?
yeah. I can zoom in if we need to do it beforehand.
Because you said it has to be after this first Tuesday?
It needs to be on or before the first Tuesday after the first Monday in January.
Okay, so Monday or Tuesday. So last year we did it on that Monday, or this current year. So I'm fine with Monday or Tuesday.
Monday's fine.
Monday?
Yep.
Okay,
So 6:30?
6:30 on January the 5th.
Okay. And just as a reminder, that meeting is usually pretty short. It's really just to elect the chair and secretary and set the meeting schedule. And that's all I have.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Does the board have any questions regarding the trustees report?
No question.
Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the trustees report?
I motion to approve the trustees report.
Second.
All right, we'll go by roll call. Dodds?
Yes.
Husk? Yes. McInerney?
Yes.
Okay. Next up, we have the township assistance.
Hey, just to kind of, since we did cancel our November meeting, I wanted to bring up what we had discussed in October, and that I had found some discrepancies in regards to who counts as an applicant for our annual report. There was an article, a statewide article, that seems to view the data that townships have a high denial rate when you compare the request for assistance to the number of recipients. When I started this position, I was advised to count anyone that reaches out to us, even if they don't live in our township, in which case we direct them where they're supposed to be, if they don't complete an application or they don't submit documentation. When looking at instructions for the annual report, which seem to have updated in the last year or so, the help guide states the following. We are not aware of any definitions of applicant for the purpose of Indiana Code 12-20-28-3. The attorney for the Township Association has offered the following for consideration. Applicant means an individual who requests assistance with basic necessities as defined in Indiana Code 12-7-2-20.5 from a township where the request has been documented, whether or not the individual completes an application for township assistance. I reached out to other Monroe County trustees to see what they do. Indian Creek only counts their completed applications only. Everything else they consider a request for information and not a request for assistance. Salt Creek only counts their active assistance cases. Bloomington counts their completed applications and food pantry visits only. Other interactions such as phone calls and emails are counted in case management hours, which is a separate line. Perry Township counts their online application requests, which there is an address validator including in the software. So if you do not reside in Perry Township and you are filling out a Perry Township application, if you do not reside there, it's going to boot you out and kind of filter that automatically. Also, someone has to totally complete the application in order for it to be submitted. Appointment requests, food pantry requests, bus ticket requests, because they serve a lot of people who are just traveling through the township, and burial and cremation requests. So I'm just reporting back. You all had asked me to see what other townships are doing. However, when, again, I'm looking at the official help guide and the instructions, it does seem to say where the request has been documented, whether or not the individual completes an application for township assistance. So I still kind of feel like we should be doing it the way that we're doing it.
Okay.
Does the board have any feedback?
I would say that I agree with you, just based on the way that reads.
Same.
Yeah, I feel the same.
Right. So as far as our township assistance report, back in October, after returning from vacation, I had a note in our mail slot from an ongoing client asking to meet. However, the day and date combination on the note did not match any day and date combination on the calendar, and he was not shown on our security cameras coming to the office within the last 2 weeks. I attempted to reach out to him and the phone had been disconnected. I reached out to a local service agency that had been assisting him, trying to follow up as well. No follow-up from this agency or from the client has been made. A concerned Benton Township resident called wanting to help neighbors, asking about ways she can help with SNAP benefits not being granted. I actually had another person call offering to do small food bags, and I see that that's not on here. But we had a lot of people reach out trying to help, wanting to help, and it was just kind of difficult when we don't really have anybody that we're actively working with to get those folks connected. A Benton Township resident called asking how to start an application for utility assistance. Someone later came by the office to pick up an application from the mailbox, but so far that has not been returned. A Benton Township resident called to request assistance for over-the-counter medical expenses. After a lengthy discussion, she decided to wait. A person referred to by the highway department called to ask about what type of assistance we offer and how to apply for assistance. We offer both financial and logistical assistance to assist for trees to be cut down that were in the right of way. A Benton Township resident called to request assistance for rent after a car accident. This person did not end up completing an application, although we did have an interview, but they needed to still submit information, which they did not do. In November, a Find Help online request for more information was received and responded to. No address had been provided to see if they are a Benton Township resident. Here's the small bag of items. Received a call and a text message from a concerned Benton Township resident wanting to help their community. One wanted to donate small bags of items to people, and another was a co-leader of a Girl Scout troop wanting to take over the food pantry. So that's a little bit of a double entry with my other notations. And then at the end of November, I received a message on a cardboard box in our mail slot from an ongoing client asking if I knew where he could get his land surveyed for free. After trying to call and not picking up or an ability to leave a message, I mailed a response with some resources, and we have not heard any follow-up. That concludes the township assistance report.
Do I have a motion to approve the township assistance report?
I motion to approve the township assistance report.
Second?
We'll go by roll call. Dodds?
Yes.
Husk? Aye. McInerney?
Aye.
That concludes our report section. We have no old board business. We have a few quick items under new board business, starting with the transfer of appropriation for the township general fund.
Okay, so a transfer of appropriation is moving kind of budget categories from in between a category 1, personal services, category 2, supplies, category 3, other services and charges, and capital 4 of capital outlays. This does not increase our budget overall. It just kind of just adjusts the ways in which we have kind of these last bills coming in and allows me to be able to pay them from the proper amount. So do you want me to read this additional appropriation and reduction resolution?
Sure.
Whereas it has been determined that it is now necessary to transfer appropriation within the township general fund than what was previously appropriated. Now therefore, section 1, be it resolved by the Benton Township Board of Monroe County for the expenses of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the funds named for the purposes specified, subject to laws governing the same. Township General Fund, Category 3000, Other Services and Charges, amount of increase requested, $4,197. Section 2, whereas it has been shown that certain existing appropriations now have unobligated balances that will not be needed for the purposes for which appropriated, it is further resolved that the following existing appropriations be reduced in the following amounts. Township General Fund, classification 1,000, personal services $825. Most of that was for the deputy trustee line, which was $750. Supplies $1,500, and capital outlays $1,872. Total $4,197.
Do I have a motion to approve the additional appropriation and reduction resolution as described?
I motion to approve the additional appropriation schedule 1.
Second?
Do a roll call. Dodds?
Aye.
Husk? Aye. McInerney?
Aye.
All right, next up we have the conflict and nepotism and employment.
Okay, so every December or at the end of the year, we do these. The first document is a certification of township board member to the trustee of Benton Township on compliance with township nepotism policies. I sign your name, fill out your name. The elected township board member of Benton Township certify that I have not violated the Benton Township nepotism in contracting policy or nepotism in employment policy as related to contracts and employment of my relative's business interests within the township. I understand that a relative may be my spouse, parent, step-parent, child or stepchild, brother, sister, stepbrother, stepsister, niece, nephew, aunt, uncle, daughter-in-law, or son-in-law, including half-bloods and adopted children. I intend for this to be submitted to the trustee prior to the end of this calendar year. I hereby verify under the penalty of perjury that the foregoing statements are true. Please sign it. These are audited by the state, by the way. Next up is the Uniform Conflict of Interest Disclosure Statement. This is a form that's available online, but I'm a little bit old school and kind of like paper. So basically, you're attesting that you do not have a conflict of interest that has happened in 2025. So on part 1, you're going to put your name and home address. Number 2 is your title or position. Number 3 is the government entity in the county. You're going to do 4B is an annual disclosure, and then you can not applicable the next 6 and 7.
5, 6, and 7.
Yep. And then you can also cross through 8. Number 9 will be the date that you're submitted. And then the last page, you just sign date, print, and email address.
We said 5, 6, 7.
5, 6, 7, and 8. But
We'll just
not
draw a line. It's not a full draw. Thank you. Oh. Can you cross through 5, 6, and 7, please? And then sign that page. Today's date is December 10th.
I'm double checking here to make sure I didn't forget something.
Okay.
I can check that too. I should cheat off you. Yep, looks good to me. We're good. All right, final topic today. Sorry to keep you waiting. Is the North Tunnel Road property discussion.
So just as a little bit of background, the board's been provided a lot of documentation in advance of the meeting to prepare. I had given them the documents that you had found, as well as some that I had found on DocsPop. Basically the summary is Jason Hawkins has reached out to me regarding a small part of his property that he has voluntarily maintained for many years. We had talked initially about this a few years ago, and I had talked about that we had recently gone through a transfer of surplus property on North Shore Drive back into an advertising costs.
So we would include that in the present. Okay. Because it seems weird that an individual would have to go through that if it was going to be up to bid, and then somebody else is going to buy it. They've already put out that expense, and then now that company, takes advantage of that. So it makes sense to me that the township would potentially do that. I think we have a responsibility ourselves to figure out, more about this property. Was it, given back? I think the only that we have is the original deed, which discusses the sale of that property, but I don't think we have anything to fill in that gap between. And given the amount of time, it's, as you mentioned, hasn't even been assessed before. So I think that I think I would like to have the township, the board take responsibility and initial actions to move this forward.
As far as a timeline, I'm happy to reach out to, a title company and get that process started. I don't know how busy they are. I don't know how quick it's going to be. Sometimes, in my experience, that they may say that they're super busy, but then as they're in the same rooms researching other properties, they may just decide, hey, I've got an extra few minutes, I can do this.
I don't think December, January is usually the biggest time for real estate sales, but I could be mistaken.
And regardless, if Mr. Hawkins chooses not to, move forward or is no longer interested in it, then at least we would have that information for our records.
No, I get that 100%, and it would be in Beacon correctly, or the other servers. The current one, Beacon, didn't have any information in it whatsoever, but I think the previous GIS system actually had at least a listing of the plot size.
Yeah, I looked on Elevate.
Yeah, it was in Elevate, I think it actually had the size at least referenced.
Yeah, I can't recall right now, but I did look at it. This doesn't really show much.
But the one thing that I found interesting or confusing was in the original information that was provided by Jason Funk, Monroe County Auditor's Office, which provides documentation for the deed in book 61, page 69, which is really difficult to read, which is why I went ahead and created a readable format of this scanned book. It goes on in here to say, it gives a starting point and dimensions of the property in the form of, let's see here.
Rods.
Yeah, in the form of rods and feet. But if you actually use that measurement, to me, it indicates that the triangle piece that's adjacent to it is included in that original sale, because it doesn't match up insofar as size goes for the trapezoid that's there. But if you do just a raw calculation, it actually covers pretty well. And it does mention it follows the road, which at the time was Richardson Pike Road. But it is very difficult to read. Part of the northeast, I'll just go ahead and read it. Part of the northeast quarter of Section 4 in Township 9, Range 1, east to it, beginning at point 27 rods west of the southeast quarter of the southeast quarter of Section 33. Township 10, Range 1, east and running thence west 12 rods, then thence in a southerly direction 17 rods and 5 feet to the center of Richardson Pike Road, thence along said pike 21 rods to the place of the beginning. So they're saying starting point here, which is pretty much at the road, over, down, following the road back to the point of the beginning, which would indicate to me a triangle. So I just thought it was really interesting.
Yeah.
And if you go by a pence is what I think 16.5 feet. If you use that calculation, then it actually seems to cover that area. I'm no surveyor, but it was really interesting to see that. So I think that at the end of the day, finding out that property and does it extend over to the adjacent, which is it mislabeled or is that correct, or was that transferred at one point in time? I'm not sure. We have to do any research on that one as well, but I'm very curious to see where this comes out. I went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
It's all kind of fascinating.
it certainly is. And so I actually went to school for land surveying, so you think I'd have a little bit more insight here, but I've been out of the game for about a decade. So my only thought, obviously you could go down a road of trying to figure out exactly where it is, and you can see who's bought and sold and had surveys. I know there's a survey further downtown the road this summer, and they can figure it out, but it's a very expensive process. And so at a certain point, you end up just spending a ton of money to figure out the potential value of a piece of property that's at best 400 foot wide.
Well,
That would be my concern, yes.
and at the end of the day, your point's very valid. At the end of the day, we couldn't sell it until we had that information anyway. And nobody can build on that because
It's not buildable. I think you could, well, I don't want to speak without knowing what I'm saying exactly.
any more discussion? Interesting topics. I think that we've got some work to do to move forward with this. Will the title company give us an estimate before they begin, or will they?
I can.
Okay. Just kind of curious about do we have a price point that we're willing to spend on this initially?
What were you saying about you found the value for the smaller piece?
The smaller piece was 0.05 acres, listed at $100. But it's sold as part of the parcel above it in the millions, over $1 million. But if you look on there, actually, if you click on that, I think it'll actually give you on the bottom the assessed value. So maybe in that window. I know I saw it somewhere.
Oh, yeah, it just says value $100.
Yes.
Why am I going to do that for this one?
Because it hasn't been.
I mean, I don't know legally where things stand, but I think if you can assume that point, that 5/10 or not 5/100 of an acre is worth $100, you can make it pretty quick. You can figure out this distance even if you measured it out on Elevate and got a rough idea. You're going to learn that this is maybe worth a few $100.
I think it was 0.365.
0.365.
That's just going off of memory that, again, it was through Elevate that actually listed that. But even that seems smaller than following the directions of the survey, which came out to, I think, 0.6, maybe 0.65 acres. Because your property is listed as 4 acres, I believe.
More or less what it said, yeah.
Yeah.
If you go out and measure it on the actual screen, it shows over 5, it's like 5.25.
But the document, the original document said 4 acres, give or take.
Sure.
Okay. What would you say that property was size-wise? Since it's right there,
I would say about 0.35.
so Elevate's probably pretty close.
Yeah.
I think they said 0.365.
Yeah.
But she's a deputy assessor, so she probably know a lot more about me.
Yeah.
She's been here 25 years. We're just more concerned with the, can I talk, or is it? No?
Yeah. I mean, we're at public comment here in just a minute here, so I'm fine if the board is cool, okay with that. But
I mean, we're not trying to take advantage of anybody on this stuff.
No.
It's been in my family for over 100 years, and it's based on our front yard. I mean, so we put the building side there. We put a brand new building up this, I guess it was this year, yeah, this year. And then basically it's the front. All it is basically just a roll hill and a ditch. There's not even a flat section there. The top part's a little bit flat, but I'd say it's probably got I'd say a 50-degree slide on it. So of course you couldn't build anything there. But my major concern, and we brought this up once before in the past, is worried about something ever happened with that. I mean, you couldn't do anything with it, but the land behind us went for sale a couple of years ago, and the guy, he probably lives up there, they timbered before the heck out of woods back there. Well, they bought that to try to put up, and the 2 kids of the owners wanted to build houses back here. Well, the county wouldn't let them because on that road frontage there. They allowed for them to have an actual track to go in for logging permit only, but not for an actual driveway permit. Well, I'm just worried with them putting this up for sale for a crazy amount of money, which I don't see people paying that, but they will. They may try to come after this to get access, have an easement for a road frontage. But even at that point, it's not enough road side distance to make the difference anyway. But
To be able to maybe put houses on and develop. is
yeah, I
kind
just
of
don't
what
want
we
people
want.
right on top of it. I mean, as of right now, I don't have, it's not an issue.
But we also don't want to cost the township money to have to research this, and take expenses out that could go other places too.
Sure.
Well, I think that from my perspective, it's not listed even in the GIS system, so there's really no record of
Yeah.
this right now. And at least, if the township owns that property, it's in our best interest to document that and to have that listed. And so I think that expense is going to be just an expense no matter what. Of course, if it's going to be exorbitant, then obviously we may back off a little bit on it, but as a township resident myself, I want to know more about, who owns that property, because it should be assessed. It should be listed in here. If Benton Township in fact owns it, at least we can find that information out. And maybe we don't. Maybe it's something else. So
I just hate to see you guys spending a couple $1,000s for something worth $500. That's what I'm worried about.
I think they're saying that they have to go either way, so.
I work for the county highway. I've been there for 24 years. I'm the superintendent out there. And I do the budgets every day. I know what's tight. And with this Senate one, everything's changed so much with us as well. So we gotta watch where we do everything. I hate to see people have to spend money to spend.
well, we couldn't, unless we had that information, we couldn't do anything with it anyway. So I think that we need to get to that step first.
Yeah.
It's a shame that it hasn't been done prior,
Sure.
but at least hopefully we can kind of figure that out too. And maybe it won't be that much. So I think that we need to move forward with that, and I'm happy to.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, I'm not, again, we'll need to ask the lawyer, but I don't think they can put an easement on there because they already have access to the highway in their property. They have a little section there where they have the ability to put a road in.
I don't think it's enough frontage.
You got 200 feet road frontage to put a driveway in, regardless of Monroe County, yeah.
Okay.
They gave them a temporary logging permit.
I see.
It has to be out so many, which they've not really enforced too much, yeah.
No, they have not.
We had that road paved, was it last year, wasn't it?
Mhm.
And then we hold a bond for $5,000 to the logging company for any kind of damage, which doesn't pay, doesn't really cover much cost of any damage, which that place there will definitely be, will keep the money because it'd be repaired, they broke stuff off.
Well, good, that's good enough, thank you.
And I would just note this too, I know it doesn't matter probably, but just if you get a chance to drive there like that, I think this map actually does a poor representation. It makes it look like a much bigger area.
It does.
And if you drive by it, it's not a large area, not that.
It looks huge on here.
Yes, it looks big on there. It looks like it would be usable, because I guess if you're looking for context like that shed back
So
there.
there's also a telephone pole there, or a power line, right, in the middle of that. There, okay, where they would have
I
access.
think you actually brought up a good point. Look at that shed's 16 foot by 20 feet. So put that shed inside that square. That's what you're looking at. It's pretty small.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
Of course, that's gone, there's actually a pole over there now.
Yeah, I have a better understanding of your concern. All right, does the board have any additional questions or comments?
So what do we have to, we'll go to a title company then? No,
They'll do the research. And give us more of an authoritative response than our speculation.
yeah, right, sure, yeah, always good. Let's do it.
So, do you have anything else that you'd like to?
And we do help to smooth the process up or help with you on anything, so let us know. I asked some questions that on here you will do it, doesn't matter.
What's that?
I asked questions about the situation.
Sure.
So if you get this back, they show it, you guys on it, and then you have to put it out, I guess you have to bid it out, sounds like, or something. Is that on live bid, where you just go online, type in your amount, or you send a letter, or how's that work?
Yeah, so we would send certified letters to the abutting landowners, so each of the three. And then we'd say, okay, we need to have your bid. It's usually, people can email me or they can drop it off in the mail slot. And then we say, okay, it's 5 o'clock by Friday. And then, we schedule a bid opening.
Okay. So you don't get to see if they're a person bid, you can't like go about, you just put what you want to pay for it, basically. I appreciate you guys having taken time to listen to this.
Thanks for bringing this to our attention. It's actually really interesting. All right, it is 7:26.
The one thing I thought was interesting is it did not say, the thing I thought was interesting is it did not say that there had to be, like with other bidding processes, I've been a part of it, like you have to have a 7-day bid process or a 14-day bid process. And I did not see anything in Indiana code that it needed to be 7 days or something like that. So I just thought that was interesting and, that's all I'm saying.
It is 6:20, 7:26. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion to
Second.
All right, we'll do a roll call. Dodds?
Aye.
Us? Aye. McInerney? We are adjourned.